Hi everyone, I'm MaryAnn. I'm a visual artist and voice coach from Singapore, currently in Singapore, and welcome to day 31 of my 100-day vlog project. So this is a daily vlog series for 100 days where I share what I've learned about pursuing your passion, following your heart, manifesting your dreams, personal growth and evolution, and sometimes about the creative process and the artist journey as well. Basically things that I love sharing about and that I'm passionate sharing about. I would love to hear from you. If you have questions, if you have a different perspective from what I've shared, feel free to share them in the comments, or you can directly message me through any of my social media links, which are in the write-ups attached to these videos. So today is day 31. And yesterday I shared a bit about the comfort zone and how I basically 8 years ago in the US decided that, 10 years ago in the US, decided to overcome some of the fears that I had which were limiting me. And as a result of starting that process of coming out of my comfort zone and constantly pushing past it, it allowed me to eventually move to New York City, drive myself from Nashville to New York City to pursue my dream of being an artist somehow. And even though I didn't do very well there as an artist, but when I came back to Singapore, that sense of courage and pushing past my comfort zone also helped me to be able to do my first solo exhibition in early 2013, which was at that time the most difficult thing I had ever done. What I want to say is that the process of pushing past your comfort zone is a process of growth, basically, because in order for us to grow, in order for us to expand, we have to be able to push the limits of what we're comfortable with in order to see something better or bigger or more possibilities for ourselves. So what I want to talk about today is that the process of growth is actually very dramatic. It's very painful, and a lot of times it comes with some sort of struggle. So if you are going through something like that, where you're trying to make something meaningful in your life and you're currently struggling, rest assured that this is perfectly normal. It is totally normal to struggle as you're trying to grow yourself, as you're trying to evolve, as you're pushing your boundaries, as you're pushing your comfort zone. It is perfectly normal. I recently started watching this show called Pen 15, which, if you put it together as one word, spells penis. I don't know if I'm allowed to say penis on YouTube, but I just did. So it's a show about, these, it centers around these two best friends who are 13-year-old girls, and they are just started middle school, and basically their struggles of navigating all that adolescent exploration and growth, and figuring out who they are and their identity and things like that. And it is set in the year 2000, like the early 2000s, so I totally relate with that because I was a teenager during the early 2000s. Well, I wasn't 13 then, but close enough. So there are a lot of things in that show that I really relate with, and watching it, even though it's a comedy, it's really painful to watch it at times because I totally relate with what these girls are going through or have gone through. So what I'm saying is that if you remember your own teenage years when you were trying to figure out who you are, when you're trying to gain more independence or make your own stand for yourself and things like that, it's a very trying time, right? Chances are you probably had a lot of arguments with your parents. You might have had to end a lot of friendships that were no longer that you no longer wanted to hang out with or were aligned to, or you may have been ostracized because people didn't want to hang out with you anymore, or whatever it is. But basically the period of growth is something that is it's full of struggle, it's painful, it's very dramatic, and that is totally normal. So as adults, it's very easy to get into that lull of like, especially if you have a regular day job, office hours, it's very easy to get into this lull of life where you go to work, you go home, you eat, you watch Netflix, you play computer games, you sleep, you wake up, and you repeat the same thing all over again. So there's totally nothing wrong with living a peaceful life. There's nothing wrong with having simple things in life, but if you're someone who really wants to pursue something that really matters to you, and right now it is something that is out of your reach because you have to allow yourself to grow and to increase your capacity such that you can get there, then the process of growth, you know, is something that you're going to have to go through, and this process of pushing your comfort zone is something you're going to have to go through if that's what you want, you know, to reach for something bigger than yourself now. And yeah, it's gonna be dramatic, it's gonna be drama filled, it's gonna be, you know, a bit crazy, it's gonna be painful at times, and it is totally normal. And I think the reason why it is such a struggle is because, you know, for one, whatever is outside your comfort zone is something you're not used to yet. So that process of adjusting to something that is, you know, that you're not comfortable with and you find really unpleasant is something that you're going to have to struggle with. Like, for example, you know, I've never been someone who exercised regularly. When I was a teenager, you know, PE was like one of my least favorite classes. Whenever we ran 2.4 kilometers, which was like the you know, the fitness, one of the fitness tests that we had in Singapore, I was always the last one of my entire class. And it was really embarrassing. So I never saw myself as someone who was physically fit, or, you know, I just kind of told myself I'm just not made to be someone who exercises. And then this year I decided that, okay, you know, I'm not getting any younger. My physical body is starting to show, you know, it gets tired more easily, and I need to do something about this. So this was an area that I started to grow in this year, where I set myself a very simple goal of just running, you know, 2.4 kilometers twice a week, and then I build up slowly from there. To now, you know, 10 months ever since I started this, I now can say that I actually have an exercise habit, and I have been keeping it up for many, many months now, which is very surprising for me too. But in the beginning, you know, when I started running again, it was torture, okay? And or when, you know, when I started, you know, adding some push-ups and sit-up crunches and other, you know, strengthening exercises in my exercise routine, it was torture, because, you know, my body wasn't used to it. And, you know, keeping to that schedule of exercising every day almost, it was torture too, because I was just, you know, I'm just not used to it. And that part of my brain that says, you know, oh, I'm not made for exercise is still, you know, it basically rebels every single time it's time for me to, you know, run or do my workout or whatever it is. It's become a lot easier now to actually keep to my workout routine, and now, you know, because it's sort of stabilized, now I'm looking at how can I add on to it to, you know, keep it interesting, and to also allow myself to grow even further in terms of my physical body fitness and development. So basically what I've shared today is that, you know, how you can tell if you're going through a period of growth and expansion in your life, especially if there's something you're working towards that you really, really want that is currently out of your reach. One way to tell that if you're on the right track is that if things are a mess, if there's a lot of drama, if it's really painful, if you're really struggling, that's a very good sign that you're on the right track towards your dreams and your goals and pursuing your passion and going after something that is really meaningful to you. So if you enjoyed this video today, subscribe to my YouTube channel or like my Facebook page wherever you're seeing this at. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, or you can directly message me through any of my social media links, and I will see you tomorrow.